In this devlog, we're going to continue our banking application by integrating the Admin LTE framework, which is a CSS JavaScript framework built on top of Bootstrap 3. So it uses the base Bootstrap 3 definitions for its elements and just adds on top of it for you to be able to create some very nice UI elements that's ready out of the box for different parts of your application. So if you'd like to create things like a progress bar or a couple of charts or some interfaces for your users, or even this layout wherein you have a nice global menu in the side and a nice header on top with probably some profile elements in the upper right, and probably a logout right here. All these things are given to you out of the box, and so we'd like to integrate this to our banking application. So currently, this is what our banking application looks like. Okay, so it's just actually forgot what this looks like, but it's just basically a simple layout wrapped around the Bootstrap 3 framework. So we already have Bootstrap 3 here included, and we just wrapped it around the container definition for Bootstrap 3. So it has a nice, some nice alignments and some nice fonts, default Bootstrap 3 fonts for our application. So the first thing we'll do is we'll download these files. See the download page. Okay, and the way I'd like to do it is I'd like to download it directly from source. And the reason behind this is because I know there are gems that exist out there that provide an out-of-the-box inclusion of Admin LTE, but in this case I prefer to integrate it manually so that we also can see the whole process on how to integrate third-party frameworks or third-party assets into our system, our Rails-based system. Right, so I'll go ahead and download this. Maybe I can create a clone copy of this. And the reason why I wasn't able to, I already have it here. The reason why I wasn't able to continue this particular application or this series of videos was because of basically work. So I've been caught up in work for the past few weeks and didn't have that much time to improve on the system or on these devlogs. Okay, so now that we have it in our workspace, let's see, workspace. Right, so what we'd want to do is we'd want to get the CSS, okay, right here. So you can use the minified one or the .css ones, as well as the skins. Okay, so the simplest way to do it is to probably just copy these files and move it to our assets directory. I know there might be a better way to do this, but the most, at least as of Rails 5.01 or 5.01 and earlier, the easiest way to do this is to include this in your style sheets directory, as well as the other things such as the all skins if you want all possible skins that you can use by default from Admin LTE inside your style sheets directory. Aside from that, we're also going to copy the images, although I really haven't had much success in using these things, so I'll probably use my own set of images for my system. Okay, let's go to the JS, and well, I don't really bother using the JS files, but because I think it sort of mixes it with things like chart.js and other JavaScript files. So I'll include this when we really need them, because all I'm really after is the CSS files that allows me to create a nice skin for my banking application. Okay, so I just want this particular layout to integrate it to the banking application. Okay, so once I have those CSS files in place, what I can do is I can go to my application.css file, application.scss file, and import them or require them accordingly. Now, I usually remove this required tree because I don't want to include all CSS files by default. I want to include it part by part. So now that we have that there, we can either import it or we can require it. Right? So I'll probably require it in this case. Right? Require admin LTE. Okay? So it should be found somewhere here, right? AdminLTE.css. Aside from that, we can also include all the skins, require all skins. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. Restart the server, refresh the application. Okay, if you notice, I'm also using a different desktop environment. I'm now using the GNOME 3 desktop environment in light with the switch for Ubuntu from Unity to GNOME. Okay, so we don't have anything yet because we simply included the CSS files in our application. Now, what we want to do is we want to customize our layout so that it follows the same layout as the one found in Admin LTE's website. Okay, so let's take a look at the demo again. Okay, and when I started using this for my past projects, the way I usually did it was to inspect the element and then part by part copy the needed things in the application. So it's also useful to know how these sort of things get integrated to your own application. Okay, so looking at the layout, we have a class skin blue and a sidebar mini declaration inside the class of your body tag. So that's probably the first thing we can do for integration is to go to our application.html.erb file and add the class to it. Okay, so in this case we have skin blue and sidebar mini. Okay, so let's see what happens if we integrate. Okay, so nothing yet. Okay, and then we have a wrapper. Okay, that wraps around a header tag. So in this case, after the body, we have a div class wrapper. Okay, you can probably put in the style as well. Style equals height auto, so it's an inline thing. And we'd like to wrap this around a header tag. Okay, so I believe this will form the header right here. Okay, with the class main header. Right, so let's see. Okay, nothing's happening yet. Why is it? Should have shown by now. Okay, so apparently it's not getting the required classes. Right, so maybe I actually forgot how to do this. I usually just copy it from a different project that's already integrated, and then it's good to go. So, let's see. So maybe I should import this way. So admin LTE and import all skins. Okay, so maybe it will work this way. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, it's running. Okay, still nothing. Is this the case? No, it's taking it from all skins, so I guess So I guess it works. Oh, right. So the problem is we don't have any content in our header. That's why it's not showing anything, right? So what we can do is, let's try to include this particular logo right here. So we have an A tag that links somewhere, probably the home page, right? So we can probably hook it up to root path and include some logos right there. Okay. So we'll try that out first. Going back to our layout file, we can create an A tag. Let's just anchor it to the home page, logo right there. And nested within the A tag are the spans for the logo mini and the logo large. Okay, which is just basically some text that expands or contracts depending on the menu, if it's open or closed. Okay, so we'll try that out. We have two spans. Okay, let's lay that out right here. And then class logo mini. Oops. For the top span, and class logo mini, or logo LG, I believe, for the bottom span. Okay, so for the logo mini in the top span, we'll just have ALT. So for our case, we can change this to something like B and NK, something like that. And then for the bottom span, for the large logo, we have a longer version, and let's call it bank. I think it's just some text. All right. Bank. All right. So let's see if this works. All right. So we have bank right there, but we don't have the header yet right there, right? So what we want to do is, if we want to click this menu, it expands and contracts and then shows the long version of the logo or the short version of the logo. Probably have something like that there. Let's see if this works. Right, bank app. All right, so at least we know that it's integrated properly. So the next thing we'll do is we'll create the nav bar. Okay. And we can see the nav bar is aligned with the A tag, I believe, right? So which is still inside the header section. Okay, so now my code is getting a bit too cluttered already for the layout. So what I can do is I can separate this to a different partial, right? So if I want to edit it later on, I can just focus on this particular partial as opposed to editing it in the layout, especially if the layout gets too big. So what I'll do is I'll create a shared folder, and then I'll create a partial there called header.html, and I'll be using HAML for this. Okay, so we're like porting the HTML version of Admin LTE from its usual HTML syntax to its HAML form. Okay, which is also a good review for HAML. Okay, so I'll copy the header part and paste it here. Okay, so we'll go through all the sections one by one. So we first have the header with a class main header. We have an A tag that links to the home page with a class of logo. Okay. And we'll also compare how we also compare how short the HAML code is compared to the default HTML. Okay, so embedded inside the A tag will be the span tag with class logo mini, and inside it we'll have the initials for our application, B and K. Excuse me. Okay, and then we'll have the second span here, logo LG, and then we have B tag, bank, app. Right, and that's all we need for the header. Okay, so if we compare both code, it's actually much shorter because we're using HAML. Right? So I can do away with this one and simply include the partial inside the wrapper right here. So I can say something like render partial shared header. Okay? No need for any local variables in this case. Okay, so once we have the header, let's see if it still works. Okay, refresh this, and we still have the skin for the header. Okay, so moving on, the next thing we'll do is we'll have the nav definition. Okay, so at this point, we'll be editing just the header file. So we can just focus on this particular file and align it with the A tag. So we have the nav definition right there with a class of navbar static top. So navbar static top. Okay, and then we have a toggle button here. Okay, so we have inside the nav, we have an ahref. Anchors there with a class of sidebar toggle, right? And some data definitions. So data toggle off canvas. Okay. So the way we port some data attributes inside HAML is that we sort of split the data dash something tag into a data hash inside HAML. Right? So in this case, data dash toggle will become data, and inside the hash you'll have toggle right there, and then the value for that particular data attribute. Okay, and then roll button. Okay, and inside the E tag we'll have a span that says toggle navigation. Okay, okay, so span class SR only toggle navigation. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, so we have the thing right here. It doesn't do anything yet, or it doesn't expand or contract yet. So I might have been missing something. Probably the JS will make this thing expand and contract. Curious about it though is that I don't have the hamburger menu logo. Okay, we'll try to work on that later on. But for the meantime, well, let's work on it now. So I have the sidebar working right there, but it won't toggle on and off. So, so maybe I do need the app.js file. So I'll copy that and paste it inside my JavaScript folder, app.js. And inside my application.js file, I can require it. Require app. Okay. Let's reset the server. Nope, no, not that. Reset this one and see if it works. All right, so now it's working. So apparently we needed the app.js file to make this JavaScript thing works. I thought it was Bootstrap that powered this animation, but actually it was the app.js file from AdminLTE. Okay, I'm not sure why we don't have the menu working. Let's see if I missed anything. Sidebar toggle, roll button. Maybe I also need to copy the images. Icons, probably. So, yeah, it's probably the somewhere here, some of the icons here, or I'm not sure. Definitely not the skins, since I have all skins already enabled. Okay, maybe I can work on that later on, but at least I know that I have the thing working. Right, so next thing I'll do is I'll try to implement these things. I don't really need these, well, I don't have any use yet for these notification widgets right here. So, but I do want to have this profile working. So I have the nice sign out button there to be ready for things like login, right? Okay, so I'll copy that part, and I believe that's the, okay, if we were to highlight this part, okay, that would be the thing right here. So it's an LI, so we need to have a top UL container right here in the right menu part. Okay, so we need to have a navbar custom menu, which is a typical div. Okay, so going back to the header, where is it aligned with? It's aligned with the toggle, with the A tag. Okay, so we have navbar custom menu, and we have our UL tag right there with a class of navbar nav. Okay, and then one of the list elements there will be the drop down menu for the user, which is called drop down user menu open. So you have an li tag there that says drop down with the class drop down user menu open. Okay, which has an A tag which will allow us to click it, and it will toggle a drop down. So we have A, link it to the pound sign with the class of drop down toggle, and a data attribute similar to what we've seen in the menu toggle. So it will toggle drop down, okay, and say something like aria expanded true. Okay, so first for attributes with dashes, excuse me, with attributes with dashes, the way we do it in Haml is that we enclose it inside a set of quotes instead of a dash, or instead of a symbol form such as this one. Okay, so if you see some dashes, attributes with dashes, then we include it as something like a string, aria dash example, and set it to true. Okay, and then we have an image right there. Okay, so we'll have something like image tag. Okay, we won't have any image yet, and class user image alt user image. Right, so we have that image tag there, and we have a span for the name. Okay, so for the placeholder, we can just call it something like let's see, class, oh sorry, hidden access. Okay, so if it's a small screen, you won't actually show it, and we'll put the username of our logged in user right there, or our email, whatever we need, right? So if we refresh this, okay, so we have something there. Okay, it won't click. So apparently we have an error. 404 images not found. But I think this is just the link, right? It's not the actual section where we would display our user profile. Okay, so for that we need inside the li class we need another ul, okay, another ul element, okay, with the following list elements: the user header, the body, and if you can see on the screen, it's the user header will be the one for this part, and then user body will be the bottom control part, and then the user footer will contain more stuff as well. Okay. So I'll probably just need the user header, user body, or user footer, right, for the banking application. So I'll create that UL tag, give it a drop down menu class, and integrate a list element, user header, user body, and user footer. right? So inside the user header, we have another image tag. Class image circle of user image. Okay, then we can have probably a paragraph there for the text, so something like username, email. Same goes for the body. Well, I don't think we'll have anything for the body for now. You can put anything right there, probably a row of buttons or more elements. But what I want is just the sign out button. So I can probably have something like a pull right, and I have a button right there for the sign out. Okay, so in my footer I have a pull right and a button tag for sign out. And let's say that it's a red button. Right, let's see if this one works. Okay, so refresh this and nothing showing. So why isn't anything showing? Maybe I forgot. Where should I align this? I think this should be aligned with the A tag inside the li. A tag seems to be correct. User header. Why won't you load? Let's try to convert this to an actual image tag. Same goes for this one. User image. Just to silence the errors right there. Oh, there it is. That's weird. Okay. Right, so there it is. Okay, so we're sure that it's working, right? It's over there. But maybe the reason why it's not working as we hoped it would, like this one, is because we probably haven't included the actual body, right? So I think it should follow the same body or the same structure as this one. So you have something like a main sidebar and a content wrapper for the actual body. Okay, so we already have the header, so we need to include a sidebar. Okay, right there. So we go back to our layout file. Okay, we have the header right there. So just so we won't clutter things, we can include the sidebar as a partial as well. Right, so we say partial shared sidebar. Okay, so which means that in our shared folder we need to have a partial called underscore sidebar.html.haml, okay, where we would have our sidebar code. Okay, so it's wrapped around an element called aside, aside main header. Okay, we have a section in it called sidebar. Section sidebar. Style height auto. So we have an inline style height auto. And inside the section we have the user panel and a bunch of stuff. Okay, so maybe we just have user panel here. Let's see if it works. So, okay, it's starting to take shape. Right, so let's fix the main content. Okay, so instead of simply wrapping it around the container, we can wrap it around the actual definition according to, oops, sorry. Okay, we can have it wrapped around the actual definition according to Admin LTE. So that will be in this part, the content wrapper, I believe, right? Which is aligned with the aside definition right here. Okay. Oh, I see now. Header, sidebar, okay, and then our main content, which again is in yield, will be wrapped around the content wrapper. So we have div class content wrapper, and we have yield right there. Okay, and we should have something like that. Okay, sidebar there. We have a large space here, but it's starting to look like the skin from Admin LTE. Okay. Give or take a few things. Let's see. Let's see if we need to wrap it around something else. Okay, so the idea for Admin LTE is that each particular page is wrapped around a content header as well as a content section. Okay, so these two components or these two elements are present or are the most common things in your in a page wrapped around the main layout. So for yield, right, we want the header to change depending on which page we're actually in. So we won't wrap it around something like section content for this one or section header, but rather we integrate it in each view of our application. So for example, for our root path, or for our index page, which is the home page of our application, we'll wrap this around a section content header and have the h1 tag there. And in this one, we'll have the section.content, which will have whatever content we have for our page. Okay, so if we refresh this, then it follows the proper format for Admin LTE. I'm not sure why we have this large black thing. What is this thing? User panel. User panel. Let's go back to the header and try to correct that. User panel, where are you? Oh, it's not there. Probably in the sidebar. User panel. Right. Let's remove that for now. Alright. Okay, so we have that right there. This one is auto expanded. Alright, so it's starting to look much more like the Admin LTE. Still have that black thing though. Maybe I need to complete the sidebar for it to look cleaner, like this one. Okay, so let's work on the sidebar. Or I might have missed something. Min height, probably. No, that's for the for the content wrapper. So for this one, for content wrapper, we might have a minimum height of style inline min height 916 pixels. Yeah, it's still the same thing. All right. Anyway, okay. So black thing is a bit annoying. So let's work on the sidebar, and hopefully once we have those declarations in the sidebar, then it will disappear. All right, so aside, main sidebar, section sidebar, height auto. Oh, okay. So aside isn't main header, it should be main sidebar. There we go. Okay, so now it's integrated. Okay. User panel, I don't need it. I do like this navigation, so I'll take that. So the form, not so much. So we have a UL right here. Sidebar menu. Okay, so we have UL, sidebar menu. Right? And then each element will be we can have a header and a bunch of menu options. Okay, so we have LI header. You can say something like main navigation. And then for our UL, for our other LI elements, we'll have a tree view. Okay, so each tree view, the tree view is something like an expanded thing, right? Which has its own submenu, which is pretty useful, but I don't need it for now. So what I'll do is I'll just go with the ordinary LI. This one is a tree view as well, right? With the ordinary LI element, okay, and then link it to a part of my application, which would be these things right here. Okay, so I'll probably have a link for clients, bank accounts, right? So these are the two main things that we implemented. So I'll have LI right there and say something like link to client's path. I'll put in an icon here for user, probably. Say clients. Okay, so I can remove it from my homepage, which is this one. Okay, so I'll remove this here, and I'll create another one for bank accounts. So link to bank accounts path, building or money. Okay. So let's see what this sidebar looks like. Oops, wrong spelling. Linked to. Right, so we have it right there. Okay, so we have a link to clients and link to bank accounts. Okay, this is annoying. Actually, I'll comment this out first, since we don't have any login logout yet for our application. So I'll just do away first with that part. So this one. Okay, let me see if I still remember my Vim. I'll search for all those, or for the front line first, and replace it with that, so it gets commented out. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm commenting out all these lines, right? So I only have the toggle navigation part seen. Refresh this. Whoops. Save. Right, so it's not there anymore. And we have the toggle part right here. Right, so our menu isn't working as we expected it to, right? As opposed to this one, if you do that, only the icons show, right? So let's see how it's implemented here. Okay, so we need it to be embedded inside our A tag, which we already have, and for the font awesome part to be wrapped around an I tag, right, with the span containing the label of the menu item. Okay, so in that case, I think I know now why we don't have the burger menu for the sidebars because Font Awesome is not working. Okay, this should have appeared. So in any case, I'll have the icon there, and this one will be wrapped around a span. Right? So it looks just like the one found in Admin LTE. Okay. Same goes for this one. Class icon and a span. Okay, still not working. Let's see what's wrong. Oh right, I think the font, yeah, font awesome thing. Okay, so I need to have font awesome installed, and the easiest way to do that, I believe, is to use the gem, font awesome gem, or the sass gem for font awesome. Okay, I think this is the thing I use most often. font-awesome-sass, right? So it's only the Admin LTE framework that I don't use, that I don't include manually. But for these things are pretty stable. Font-awesome-sass. I'll probably have to migrate this though to Yarn when including these assets, just to follow the next release of Rails as of this video, which is Rails 5.1, which will use Yarn by default instead of the asset pipeline or sprockets, right? And then we import this to our application.css file. Okay, just like the way we did with Bootstrap. Okay. All right, so restart the server. Refresh this one. Okay. Taking a while to render. Okay, so what I did here is that I included the gem bundle, installed the project, included this in the .scss file, and refresh the page. Okay, so now I can use those icons, and the hamburger menu is now appearing right there. Okay. Now another thing I'd like to do is that if I click clients, right, it goes to the clients database. Well, what I'd like to have is that the menu item is highlighted if I'm inside the client's resource. One way to do that is to go to the sidebar, and essentially what we want to do is we want to activate the active class for this li element if we're inside the client's domain. Okay? And the easiest way to do that is to include the class as an attribute for this element, and then check if I believe it's params controller is equal to the name of that controller. Okay. So we know that the client's management part of our system is being controlled by the client's controller, so we can check if we're actually using that controller by using if params controller equals clients, then right, shorthand if with a question mark, we print out the active class, else we don't print anything. Right? Same goes for bank accounts. We'll have the class activated for this element if the controller that we're in is inside bank accounts, or we're actually using the bank accounts controller for the current page. So print active, else blank. Okay. Let's try that out. If you refresh this, whoops, probably had a syntax error. All right, shorthand if doesn't require the if statement, so you can just evaluate if params controller is equal to the name of that controller resource, then we print out active, else we print blank. Okay, so So refresh this page, and now you can see that clients is active because we're inside clients. If you click on bank accounts becomes active because we're in the bank accounts resource. If we're in the home page, okay, let me just edit that header. It's not refreshed. Okay, I'll route this to root path. Okay, if we're in the main page, then it doesn't get highlighted as active. Clients there, bank accounts there. All right, so we still have the usual functionality here. So what I'll do is for clients, I'll fix this so that it follows the convention for Admin LTE, which is to have a section content header and a section content for the actual content. So that will be in my client's index page, okay, which will have a section.content header, which contain the h1 tag, and the section.content for the actual content. Okay, refresh this, it will look something like that. So it's much cleaner and easier on the eye, right? Another nice trick we can do with Admin LTE is to wrap the content around a box, okay, which is like one of the default elements included in Admin LTE, which are these containers right here. And just like the Bootstrap, since it's built on top of Bootstrap 3, it follows the usual Bootstrap convention wherein you can have a success box, a danger box, or an info box, or some custom box color. So for example, if I wanted to have something like box primary, you can have box body right there and move the content inside the box body. So it will look something like this, okay, which is much cleaner for our interface. So let's go through the different elements of the client's resource and edit those layouts to follow the same style. If I click on new client, I can edit the new and the edit files, right, and attach a section.header, or rather content header right there, and a section.content part for the actual content. Okay, same goes for edit. Okay, same goes for this one. And the same goes for the show page. So section content header, right? Section content, right? Okay, so it has a nice interface. Oh, I forgot the box primary, box body. Right, so everything's wrapped around a nice box. And if you refresh this, oh no, where am I? Oh, that's for the show part. So we do the same for the new part. We wrap it around a box primary, and box body. Shove it there for edit as well. Box primary and box body. Okay, it's wrapped around a nice box. For the table, works as well. For show, it works as well. Okay, so we have a pretty good interface now, pretty clean interface as compared to before. And we didn't have to write our own custom CSS code. We simply copy the one from Admin LTE. Right, before we move on to the next part, let me just edit the one for bank accounts as well so that it has a nice uniform look and feel. Oh, for this one as well, forgot. Section.content header. Section.content box primary, box body. Right, for a new, same goes for this one. Excuse me. Okay, so all the components of our system should have a uniform look and feel using the default Admin LTE skin. Okay, that's for the nested resource. We'll do the same for the bank accounts. So section dot content header. Content. Same goes for edit. Just copy this, paste, move. Same goes for this one, needs to have a box. Put it there. This one, just copy this thing, paste it there, and indent. Okay, what else? Okay, that's what's already accounted for. This one. Show. Oh, the show is pretty cluttered, so might have to move it to a bunch of partials. Prior to the JavaScript, right? I can have the JavaScript outside of the box. Right? So only content is left right there. Okay, looks good. Did I miss anything? New. Okay, new is okay. Index and edit. All right, so those are the main layouts for my bank accounts resource. If I refresh this, then it follows the same look and feel. Same goes for the form and the show page. Right. So it looks pretty decent, right? For a default skin, it works for us since we're not really creating a website, a public website. We're just creating a web-based system, and so any clean interface will do, at least for now. Right? And Admin LTE is a nice way to perform that interface, or to implement a simple and ready-to-use interface. Okay. All right, one more thing before we end this devlog. We'll try to implement these boxes look nice. So we'll try to implement that as part of our homepage. Because in our homepage, right, our homepage is something like our dashboard, right? We have the number of accounts and the number of clients found in the system. So these boxes is probably a good element for that particular use case, displaying some nice statistics or summary of numbers for our system. Okay, so let's look at this definition. So it's this box is called an info box, and we can wrap it around the usual grid system of Bootstrap, the row call grid system. So if I wanted to have two boxes, right, side by side, I can have something like row call MD3 and have the info box right there. Right, so we have something like aqua info box icon BG aqua over a span. Okay, hang on. inside we have the icons. So inside the span, we can have the font awesome gears. Okay, and then we, for the actual content, we'll have the number of accounts. So that will be in info box content. Info box content, info box text will be number of accounts, and the actual number of accounts will be wrapped inside info box number. So info box number. Okay, and there we have it. Oh, sorry. Oh, right. This one should be inside the info box. Right, and there we have it. Right. Okay, so that's it for integrating Admin LTE inside our default application. Yeah. So I invite you to use this for your systems as well.